You'll see the real me. A disaster. Secrets that I keep locked like a monster.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Darkson Gaming. My name is Chris, and in today's video we're going to be going over Chapter 71 for Dragon Ball Super Manga. Now, I actually really like this chapter. I can tell you guys that right off the bat. I thought that it was something that is moving the story along. I think it's kind of hard sometimes when it comes to mangas because it does seem like the story is moving rather quickly. I mean, I think this is what, chapter 3 or 4 of this current arc, and which is the granola arc, and I find it really interesting that yes, it seems to be moving very fast, but this one they do actually kind of tell you weeks and months have gone by for the training of Goku and Vegeta, so it kind of sets up a couple different things, pretty interesting. But it starts off with Whis kind of asking Goku what he feels the difference is between him and angels, and Goku, of course, being kind of the idiot that he is at times, sits there and says, well, the difference would be a halo, and he's like, well, no, and he kind of explains to him that he needs to get to the point that he's utilizing Ultra Instinct even in his base form, because at the end of the day, Saiyans are able to turn around and transform every single time. So his Ultra Instinct that he's able to tap into is truly his full power. The problem is that he just burns through stamina. I mean, that's the thing. When it was first introduced, we really kind of learned that he basically has a minute in this form, and it doesn't seem that way when you're kind of reading a manga or if you're turning around and watching it on the series. But in reality, he has like less than a minute in the form. So he has to get to the point of being able to use Ultra Instinct in base, and that's going to help him just become better. So Whis is going through trying to explain this to him and train him up on that, while at the same time telling him, hey, you and Vegeta kind of need to step it up. The comment that he specifically tells them is that he needs that when training, they need to make sure that they're preparing themselves to be better than what they were the previous day, essentially. So really kind of setting them up that, hey, you really need to get better than what you were before. And I think that he's kind of foreshadowing a little bit that he knows that, okay, in their current state, there's no way that they can beat Granola. However, if they were to train, they could obviously surpass Granola. So I think that's kind of a little bit of a foreshadow on that. But they go back to Granola, and he's going to just kind of chill and wait. And he's going to keep looking over the old Namekian just to make sure that everything's okay there while he waits to hear from the Heaters. And then you find out that the Heaters are actually, Oil and Maki are on their way to go meet Zuno, who's the guy that knows everything in the universe. All you have to do is talk to him and ask him questions. He's going to be able to answer your questions. And then there's actually another really interesting thing, because when Alec is having a conversation with Gas, he tells him flat out in this part that, hey, you know, Gas is upset because he didn't get a chance to fight Granola. And Alec tells him, hey, look, yes, you could have won, but we need to buy our time. You are the only one that can surpass Frieza. So you find out that he's probably going through constant training in order to surpass Frieza. He's kind of like their ace in the hole. So they're really trying to get everything situated with him, and probably whatever's going to happen with the Dragon Balls here in the future, that it's going to have them basically saying, hey, Gas needs to be strongest now. So I have a feeling this is just going to be constantly like using Dragon Balls to get better, because one of the things that we do learn from Zuno is that the Planet Cereal, their Dragon Balls can be used immediately. You just use them. Now, what I'm interested to find out is when you're constantly using those Dragon Balls, I guess my thought process is he going to be a dragon that basically is always bartering? Is that going to be the trade-off? I mean, you always hear, you know, all magic comes at a price. Well, you know, yes, it's a wish, but is there going to be something that's going to basically hold them? You know, is he going to have to make the same deal that, hey, look, I can make you just as powerful, but you got to give up this? Maybe he's got to combine with his family or lose his family or take the essence. I don't know, something to that effect. But I have a feeling that he is basically the dragon that you have to bargain with. But then it moves on. It actually tells you that, like, meanwhile, and then you find out through a couple weeks that Goku is starting to learn how to use Ultra Instinct in his base form, and he's actually fighting with his eyes closed and everything. And I love the looks of Goku when his eyes are closed. He's very calm. For some reason, just the way his hair flows, I just think that looks pretty cool. But he's sitting there and he's actually moving Whis' staff with like one finger, dodging, standing on it, doing all these really cool moves, and getting set up. Well, then it kind of goes back and says, Goku and Vegeta continue training. So they're not exactly, it's just, you don't know 100% how long this is, but it's definitely a long time kind of going through, which there's a scene where Chi-Chi actually makes a comment. But going through here, you see Vegeta, he's actually using Hakai. Just continuously, he can use Hakai at will on smaller things, which means he could probably Hakai a person at this point. The best way to kind of explain Hakai, because I think some people were trying to figure out, well, how can he just like, okay, so what, he could destroy a pebble. If you think about in the Dragon Ball Super anime, when Frieza was sitting there and he actually, I can't remember which one it was, one of the gods of destructions, I think it was from Universe 9, gave his energy, his Hakai energy, it was obviously much weaker. So I think that's kind of the same thought process, is that, okay, he probably couldn't Hakai Frieza at this point, but he could definitely do a lot of different things that can make it pretty cool. But Beerus is just continuously training him, which is pretty good. And then it just says, again, another one, and so time passes. So you could tell they're constantly making that comment that time is passing. But then Oil and Mackie actually end up, they ask a couple questions. They get 10 questions granted from Zuno. They ask a number of things. One of the questions that they ask is, what are the weaknesses of Goku and Vegeta? Which is pretty standard. I think everybody knows that their weaknesses are the fact that they like to fight strong people. Pretty easy. And then they also ask something about the Dragon Balls. And then that kind of gets up a little bit closer here. But Chi-Chi actually makes a comment, well, he has been home for months. So that it's been multiple months he's been on Beerus' planet training. So this is quite some time. But they basically turn around and they say, hey, we can give you some money if he's willing to defeat this really bad guy. And then so Bulma goes and contacts Whis, and then they end up talking to Goku and Vegeta, and they're like, oh, hey, there's a new villain that's out there that's saying that he's the strongest in the world, and which obviously gets Goku and Vegeta's attention, and Vegeta's kind of upset about this because he's like, nah, I'm going to take care of it. Nobody's the strongest in the world unless I deem that they are. So it's pretty cool. He just kind of goes back and forth. And then Oil and Mackie actually sneak away to go grab the Dragon Radar. And you find out that in the Dragon Radar, the Earth Dragon Balls cannot be used right now for one reason or another, because they weren't really used as a wish. They just said that they gathered them during the Moro arc. So who knows if someone used them in between that time period. But that's where you find out that the 2-ball on Planet Cereal can be found multiple times, so the Dragon Radar is easily able to locate those. So Whis is really trying to prepare them and telling them, hey, look, this granola guy, we don't know if he's good or bad. He just kind of popped up out of nowhere, which is really weird. I mean, he should know about these things. So it's pretty interesting. Well, in between this, them debating about going through, Beerus actually tells Vegeta, hey, he gives him an earring that he could put in his ear that basically states that, hey, this is a symbol of anybody that can use the Hakai. So you can really tell now that he's really kind of the apprentice. He's kind of in the same boat that Toppo was in. At some point, he's going to be able to complete his God of Destruction training. And then Whis kind of is like, oh, well, all right, if you're going to give him that symbol, I'm going to go ahead and give Goku my symbol. And so he writes it on his gi again for him to be a student of Whis. And then they just kind of all banter like they always do, which is pretty funny. But then they're going through, and Beerus is like, hey, I'm happy, it's peace and quiet, I can get some decent sleep. And then they show the Oracle Fish, and he says something that's pretty interesting. He's like, oh, there they go, not that I care. I don't know why that just sticks out to me. Something seems interesting with that, and I don't know why. But so they go and they find, you find Oil Mackie, they have the Dragon Radar, they're talking with Chi-Chi, tell her that, hey, we can give you your weight in gold, and she's all excited about that, to be able to get beat. Then you find out that Goku and Vegeta are going to go with them. They're going to fight this bad guy, Granola, and, they got to fly with them, but it's going to take 18 days to get there. And they're like, well, okay, that's fine. They find out that they're in a really fancy ship, and Vegeta's kind of like, something doesn't seem right. You guys are saying you can't defeat this guy, and that this guy is oppressing your planet. yet you have this really fancy ship. So he has a feeling something's not on the up and up. But any which way, Goku eats his heart content. Vegeta trains to his heart content. So they're doing pretty well. But at the end, Oil and Mackie turn around and call Granola and say, hey, look, we had Frieza's location, but unfortunately, lying to him, she says that we weren't able to. Our people got caught and basically were forced to say that that you were looking for him. So he's now Frieza sending his top 2 assassins after you, Goku and Vegeta. So he's going on. He's like, well, that's fine. He's like, I'll just take him out and I'll find out where his location is. And then that's where she drops the bombshell. Well, they're Saiyans, and he's just completely just shocked and flabbergasted at this point. And he's just pretty excited. Like, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm finally going to be able to get revenge for what they did to my people, and it's going to start with them. That's the end of the chapter. So, pretty interesting. I thought it was a very good chapter. I got to tell you, I know a lot of people that I'm seeing on this, they're saying that they don't care about this chapter or about this arc. This arc, to me, I really do have a lot invested in it because I think they have the opportunity, not since Z, to really expand on a lot of different stuff. The Heaters seem to have their hands in a lot of different things, and I could turn around and see the Heaters find out. Maybe they knew about Broly this entire time. Maybe they know about other Saiyans that are out there that they could turn around and say, hey, this guy is, this guy's in my pocket and this guy's in my pocket. I mean, they just seem like the type that are going to be very shifty and kind of play everybody against everybody. So a lot can go into it. Not to mention, you can turn around and find out, did they know Vegeta and Bardock? Were they, he obviously had to have dealings with them at some point. I think a lot of things can kind of come to light through this and really kind of expand on some of the history. Plus, it's still that interesting fact that Beerus stated, hey, you need to get past the past, Vegeta, in order to become a god of destruction. Before creation must come destruction. So, again, a lot of foreshadowing. I have a feeling that in chapters to come, we're going to be able to look back at some of these early chapters and say that was a lot of foreshadowing. But, hey, that's kind of where we're at right now. Otherwise, guys, that's going to be it. That's going to be my review for today. If you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you guys are hitting that red subscribe button, and don't forget the notification bell so you're notified each and every time I'm uploading a video. But otherwise, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the chapter, what you guys are excited about coming up on things, and how you think this chapter and this arc is going, and where you think things are going to kind of take off from here. But otherwise, guys, that's it. That's today's video. Thank you very much for watching. We'll talk to you guys later.